Hello students, I am Dr. Shrikant Bavse, Assistant Professor at Department of Advanced Management Studies, GS College of Commerce, Wardha. In the previous videos, we have studied the basics of financial derivatives, its types, its characteristics, and the different trading strategies using futures and the strategies of options. From today, here onwards, we are going to start with the fourth module of financial derivatives, that is swaps. Now, how the concept of swap arose in the global market with the adoption of liberalization, privatization and globalization. Different multinational companies, global companies started doing their businesses in different countries. Today, one company from India can do the business in another different companies and countries. It can tie up with the another company and do the business in different countries. The companies may also open their plants, their outlets in foreign. Just for instance, if we talk about the impact of globalization on Indian corporate, at that time the most popular brands like Hindustan Unilever, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, these are all the foreign multinational companies, global companies. They are doing businesses in India, and the companies like Maruti Suzuki are having joint venture between Indian company, that is Maruti, and Japanese company, that is Suzuki. The most of the sales of world's biggest software company, that is Microsoft, is from India. So Microsoft is selling its software in India. The biggest user base of Facebook, WhatsApp and YouTube is from India. So now when a foreign company is doing its business in India, and when Indian company is doing its business in foreign. For instance, the companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Cognizant, all these are the Indian companies and providing their IT software solutions to the countries like US, UK, Europe and all across the globe. So when the foreign company is selling its products in India and when Indian company is selling its products in foreign, these companies are exposed to the high risk of different cash flows in different currencies. Now, how to manage this risk? Because the prices of currencies, the interest rates on loans will vary from time to time for both the importer and the exporter. Now, how these companies will balance this risk, will minimize this risk? The answer is swap. Swap is firstly adopted by the IBM International Business Machines with the World Bank when they first entered into the cash flow transaction using swap in 1981. Now, that method adopted by IBM and World Bank became very popular, and nowadays this concept of swap is used by across all the globe by corporates for minimizing their risk arising through currency fluctuations and interest rates. Today, the swap market globally is of $350 trillion. So let us start with the fourth module of financial derivatives, that is swap. Now, what is meant by swap? Swap is nothing but the agreement between two parties. There will be two parties which will be entering into an agreement. One party may be importer and another party may be exporter. One party may be foreign player and another party may be domestic company. Now, this agreement is for exchanging sequences of cash flows. Whenever any foreign company operates in domestic company, at that time the foreign company may give some money to the domestic company and the domestic company may return that money to the foreign company. So there will be exchange of cash flows between two countries, between two companies. So that cash flow may be in terms of pre-agreed currency at pre-agreed rate, or that may be on the basis of floating rate of currency. So risk arises. So this risk is minimized by using the swaps. We will see how this is completely balanced and minimized later on. We will first understand the basic concept of swap. It is for the fixed period of time. Now, as we have seen that the first contract of swap was introduced by IBM with the World Bank. At that time, it may be for 5 years or 10 years or even 15 or 20 years. So it has a fixed period of time. Before initiating any swap contract, the maturity date of that particular swap contract is already decided by the two counterparties. Now, in the swap, one variable will be uncertain, which leads to the risk. That variable may be interest rate. Now, interest rate may go up or interest rate may go down. When the interest rate goes up or goes down, when they are going up for borrower, the borrower will have to pay high amount as compared to the earlier payment. When interest rate goes down, the borrower will have to pay less. On the other hand, when we are talking with respect to the bank, at that time when interest rates on borrowing goes up, it is beneficial for the bank. When the interest rate goes down, it is disadvantageous for the bank. Now, this interest rate is uncertain. There may be a floating interest rate which may go up or which may also go down. So for avoiding this risk, the swaps are introduced. Then second one is the foreign exchange rate. As we know that dollar is the global currency. In the global market, all across the globe, dollar is considered freely tradable. And if we are talking about dollar versus rupees, someday dollar appreciates, someday rupees appreciate, someday dollar goes down, someday rupee depreciates. So it happens, and no one can predict the exact work of dollar in future. But for even managing this foreign exchange risk, the swaps are introduced. Next one is the commodity price. As we know that different countries are having different geographical advantages and disadvantages. Different countries may be having different types of natural resources with it, and different countries may be in lack of that particular natural resource. For instance, we will just make it simple. India is not having great reservoirs of oil and natural gas, whereas the Arab countries, the OPEC countries, even the US, Europe and UK are having huge natural resources of oil and natural gas. So India is the importer of oil and natural gas, whereas the OPEC countries are the exporters of oil and natural gas. When India is importing oil and natural gas from the OPEC countries, if the prices of dollar goes up, simultaneously the prices of rupees will go down, and Indian oil importing companies will have to pay higher amount for high price of dollar for importing the same quantity of oil and natural gas. On the other hand, if the rupee appreciates and dollar depreciates, at that time the Indian importer will have to pay less rupees for buying the same quantity of oil and natural gas in dollar. So appreciation and depreciation will go on. It will be uncertain. So these commodity prices always fluctuates. The prices of crude oil, we have seen, fluctuates widely right from the last 30 to 40 years, when we have seen the huge rise in demand of automobiles. The prices of crude oil are fluctuating wildly with respect to macroeconomic conditions. So this risk is also can be balanced by using the swap. Now, where these swaps are traded, remember, these swaps are not traded on any stock exchange or commodity exchange. These are traded over the counter, that is OTC. The swaps are traded between two parties, between two companies, between importer and exporter, between two companies over the counter. So these will be private entities, private players. These are privately agreed and traded. There is no involvement of any regulator. There is no sophisticated infrastructure for trading of swaps. These swaps are simply agreed privately and traded between two counterparties. The most basic and widely traded swaps are plain vanilla interest rate and the currency swaps. Suppose there is one company, foreign company, who have taken loan in India, and there is another Indian company which is operating in foreign. So the foreign company which have borrowed money from Indian bank will have to repay and will have to pay interest rates in terms of rupees, whereas the Indian company which is operating in foreign will have to pay in foreign in terms of dollars. Now both are exposed to the fluctuations in interest rates and currency rates. So simply in swap agreement, what both this company will do, they will exchange the cash flows. For example, foreign company's interest rate will be paid by Indian company in the Indian rupees, whereas all the payments of Indian company in foreign will be done by foreign company in the dollars. In this way, they can exchange the cash flows of each other, and both companies can significantly reduce their risk exposure for the foreign exchange, currencies and interest. Next is the risk of default and counterparty risk. As we have seen, these swap are traded over the counter. There is no involvement of any intermediary. There are no stock exchanges or commodity exchanges. So there arise always the risk of default and the counterparty risk is there. Imagine that two companies have agreed to share their cash flow in respective countries, but if the obligation of any one company goes up significantly, at that time it may lead to risk of default. And what if your counterparty denies to perform the requisite obligation? At that time the counterparty risk also arises. This counterparty risk may also arise if any one party between the two parties goes bankrupt, or if there is a fraud or scam in your counterparty. So there is always a risk of default and counterparty risk in the swap. We have seen this first swap is introduced by IBM between the IBM and World Bank in 1981, and today its turnover is more than $350 trillion. Now here we will see what are the uses of swap. This is one of the most common questions asked by the universities and interviewers. So there are two types of uses of swaps. First one is the commercial needs and second one is the comparative advantage. When we are talking about the commercial needs, when companies are operating globally, at that time the interest rates may vary from country to country and from time to time. So these global players, multinational companies, are exposed to the high risk of fluctuating interest rates. For minimizing this risk, for balancing this risk, the swaps, that is the exchange of cash flows, are introduced by the global companies and the multinational companies. operating across different continents and different countries. Then there may be fixed interest rate on loan and there may be floating interest rate on loan. If there is a fixed interest rate, the first component of interest rate is already balanced. But if there is floating interest rate, at that time the interest rate may go up or it may go down. For balancing this floating interest rate, the swaps can be used. And by using these swaps, the phenomenon of floating versus fixed loan and the risk arising out of it can be balanced. Then currency exposures, as we have seen that the companies which are operating in foreign countries will be having the exposure in different currencies. They will get the payment from foreign companies and they may have to pay in foreign currency to the foreign country from where they are getting their raw material. Here take a simple example of a company, infrastructure company, which is importing the raw material of basic metals from foreign. If imagine that they are taking it from a nation whose currency appreciates significantly in short span of time, at that time that importer will have to pay higher amount of money for importing that commodities for the same quantity, because the currency of that particular country have appreciated significantly. On the other hand, if the prices goes down, the importer will be benefited and exporter will have to bear the loss. So this is a risk arising through the currency exposures. Then comparative advantage. When we are dealing into the foreign markets, at that time naturally we are exposed to the currency risk, and by using the currency swaps we can exchange the cash flows and we will get the comparative advantage. We can minimize the risk of foreign exchange. The next one is the domestic currency versus foreign currency. If today the prices of any product are 1 lakh rupees and if it remains same even after 3 months or 6 months, we don't have any problem with it. But if you are a foreign national, if you are a foreign person, and if you want to buy that TV from India, and if the prices of rupees versus dollar appreciate or depreciate, at that time there will be risk that if the prices of rupees goes up, that foreign person will have to pay high. If the prices of rupees goes down, that foreign person will have to pay less. So this is the risk of domestic currency versus foreign currency, which can be also managed. Next question is how to exit swap agreement. You have entered into the swap. Now you think that your work is done, you have completed your project. Now how you can exit this agreement? But you are exiting this agreement, that should be before the termination of contract, or else it will be automatically closed by both the parties. But before termination you have to go out of the contract. At that time there are 3 basic ways to exit swap. First one is the buy out the counterparty. As we have seen, there are two counterparties. You can buy out the counterparty's complete obligation by paying a swap market value. Imagine that the counterparty is paying 1 crore rupees every month. At that time, you can ask that counterparty to stop the sharing of cash flows, and you can yourself, your company can pay that particular obligation. Then paying pre-agreed price. If before entering into the contract, if you have come up with certain price that you will pay this much price and your agreement of swap will go close, at that time you can pay that pre-agreed price. Next one is the consent of counterparty. Before termination of any swap contract, as there are two counterparties, both must be agreed. The consent of another counterparty must be taken for closing that particular cash flow, for closing that swap. Then it is not closed automatically. You cannot say that I have closed the swap, now there are no obligations. You have to take the consent of your counterparty. You have to pay the particular amount which is pre-agreed price, and then only you can close the counterparty your obligation of swap. Next one is by entering and offsetting the swap. If you are long in any swap, you can close that by going short on that swap. If your obligation is of payment, you can make complete payment and you can close the particular swap. So you have to act exactly opposite. How you can do it? You can offset your swap contract by exactly opposite swap with the another counterparty. Then when there are fixed and floating swap, if it is fixed, you have to opt for floating. If it is a floating swap, you have to opt for fixed. In this way, you can offset your swap contract. Next, sell swap to someone else. If you are thinking that your project is over, now your work is done and you do not need any swap contract, at that time you can sell your swap to someone else who is also having the same counterparty risk. But before selling your swap, you have to take the consent of that particular party. Next one is the use a swaption. Swaption is nothing but the options on swap. The options on swap may be call option or the put option. If you are having a long position, at that time you can close it by initiating a short position. If you are having a short position, you can close it by initiating a long position. For this purpose, you can use the call option and put option on the swap, which are termed as the swaption. Swaption is the combination of two words, swap plus option. So today we have studied the introduction to swaps. What is meant by the swaps? What are the reasons for using the swaps, where they are traded, how they are firstly introduced, what are their needs, what are their uses, what is commercial need and comparative advantage, and how to exit from the swap agreement by using the three basic ways, that is buy out the counterparty, then its prerequisites, entering and offsetting swap, then its characteristics, selling swap to someone else, and the requirement of consent, last but not the least by using the swaption. Thank you.